Welcome, everybody, to the Patty G Show. I am your host, Patty G, here with Dan at Bayou Apparel. Is it Bayou Apparel Graphics or just Bayou Apparel?
Bayou Apparel.
Bayou Apparel.
We have recently opened another division to the company, BP, Bayou Promotions.
Okay.
Which my son's helping me head up.
Good deal. So what's Bayou Apparel?
Bayou Apparel, we started in 2004. And basically, we started as a college apparel company. I was licensed with, and still am, with Louisiana State University being our biggest licensee. And then we were licensed with all the schools in Louisiana, Raging Cajuns, ULL, Tulane, McNeese State, Northwestern State, ULM, La Tech, McNeese State, and doing products for the retail market is what we're doing for a long time. That was what I started out doing in my career. College apparel was selling to the bookstores, to sports stores, Academy Sports and Outdoors. Years ago when I first got into business, the department stores were big into college. Of course, that was before Academy, before a lot of your sporting goods stores. So JCPenney was a big one.
Really?
Yes, early to mid-90s, they were the player when it came to college apparel.
Okay, so that was like the place to go. I mean, now everybody will go to Academy, Dick's Sporting Goods, stuff like that. Okay. So your JCPenney's, that was your target, I guess.
Yeah, they were big, national account, regional. I started out in Florida with a company.
Okay.
About 40 miles south of Gainesville. So, Gators, kind of like I am with LSU.
Right.
This company was to the Gators.
Okay, so what's your backstory? How did we get to Bayou Apparel? You said you were in Florida.
Yeah, I stayed with that company and became a national sales manager for a company out of Kansas.
Okay.
But I did move. I stayed in Florida and traveled to Louisiana a lot. This was a big state for me because I was born here. We had family, childhood friends, and I'm the youngest of 8, so we had a lot of people already settled, a lot older than me, that were friends of older siblings in the family, older brothers, older sisters, parents, my godparents were here. So It was easy for me to come over, and just feel at home.
Right, it made sense.
Yes.
To bring it back here. But so did you go straight into Bayou Apparel when you got here? Was there a transition phase?
Transition. I started with the company out of Kansas.
Right.
And they had the LSU license, so it worked out good. I actually started in June of 2000, right before the College World Series.
Okay. June of 2000.
Yes, and we did hats and shirts for the championship when Skip won his last one in 2000.
Okay.
Which was just phenomenal. I mean, unbelievable. Matter of fact, I was on LinkedIn with Jeremy Whitten, one of the players from 2000. Earlier today, yeah, reminiscing about that, the 2000 series and just unbelievable back then. The way they did things, the way Skip would bring the guys back, and they would go to the stadium and have a quote unquote celebration, and it was amazing. The people that would come out for that. And that's when Athletics owned their own store. Now they lease it out to Fanatics. But Athletics would sell shirts and hats right there at the stadium. I mean, everybody was there.
Yeah, I mean, you had pop-up shops. It almost was like a trade show with apparel supplies and everything.
Yeah, and they were there. And there wasn't much, there was JCPenney's, a few department stores around. I don't even know if Belk was in Louisiana at that point. Penny's was in, but you didn't have all your stores that you do, nowadays. Selling Tiger Apparel.
Right.
So it was a win-win. You win the game and you win in sales. So
yeah.
It was really nice for Athletics then.
So you were able to get with them, and you worked for them, or you bought into the company. What was that? How'd that work out?
I was a national sales manager. I still did a lot in Florida. I was in the Carolinas. Just anywhere they needed me. Flew out to Kansas frequently, but my main focus was the SEC. Because that's where football is king down here, and it was basketball. You had Kentucky was playing well. Even in the mid-90s, Carolina was with South Carolina was good, as well as Ole Miss had a good basketball team in those days.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot going on in the SEC.
Yeah. So then you made the shift to Bayou Apparel as you.
Yeah, in '04 I did. We went through some hot markets. That was the big thing with making the move to the company in Kansas was they had what they call an NCAA hot market events license.
Okay.
Which gave them, there was only about 4 of them in the country, at that point that had it. This was before Nike or any of these guys got into this stuff.
Right.
Especially in the mid-90s. Nobody really knew the value of it.
Mm-hmm.
The College World Series was, maybe 2 companies would do something with what you want.
Okay.
You have to build it. You have to, show people what's there, and then just human nature. Everybody wants it. So,
naturally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we did that, and we got into some great hot markets. Obviously, starting with Skip one in 2000. We're June 2000. Nick Saban's here, came from Michigan State. We had a bowl game. I think we went to the Peach Bowl that year, but that was big. It was a nice shot for the business in December for, LSU business.
Yeah.
And then here you come, around 2001, and everybody and their brother in December is thinking that Tennessee is going to run away with the SEC championship game. I think there was more roses on the ground after that game in Atlanta. But, we shocked them. We beat them and won the SEC in football. Just, phenomenal sales. And then you had that, that whole month before you went to the Sugar Bowl, and you got to play in your backyard.
Yeah.
Played Illinois that year. They had, I think they had Kitna was the quarterback then.
Okay.
So, it was a big deal. And then they just, they lit it up down in the dome. And that was just great business, and you're doing it right here in your backyard. It really meant a lot. And '02 was, was decent. Then you win the championship in '03. It's unheard of. I mean, just these sales are going crazy.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to get companies that see, some locals and some mid-majors that are in different parts of the country that are thinking, man, we want a piece of this too. We need to get in this national championship business and, the hot market business. So, in '04, there was a lot going on with the company in Kansas. So I talked with LSU and they said, yeah, if you want to make that move, do it, get your own license. And so that's what we did. And that's when we started, and here we come into just a few short years later. We got '07, we had the national championship. And
yeah.
And it really wasn't any difference.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference was it was my label on the shirt as opposed to the company in Kansas, because we did everything the same. When the company in Kansas didn't come down here, we did 90% of the printing here. With I have some contractors in New Orleans, which I still use. We had to use them for in '07. We had to use them in '11 when we played Bama. We had to use them last year for the championship, the SEC, the Heisman Trophy. We keep a good relationship with a lot of those guys because there are certain times, even though we're geared up to print thousands of shirts an hour, you can't fill the demand.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the national championship, I'm sure it just blew up overnight, and you've got to have shirts ready. So within that, in '04, you've got the license, you've made that connection with LSU, now you're able to open your own business. Were you ever involved with the back end with the company in Kansas, or were you mostly just in sales? Like, did you have any knowledge of how to screen print, how to embroider?
Well, just from working in a screen printing shop at a young age, just that part of it, just the whole idea of it. But no, I didn't get involved in any of the day-to-day in Kansas. We did, most of it was done here anyway with contractors.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'd spend a lot of time on the machines at night helping where I could because I was always around during the hot market. That was one of the things I like to be, hands-on, make sure things are getting done. And so I was there, around the clock.
Yeah.
And helping deliver, do whatever we had to do to keep these stores with merchandise. that's the key to it. You know, if they don't have it to sell,
You're not making
buy
money.
more from
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So it was, you know, the supply and demand, and there was a lot of demand, so you had to keep the supply going.
Yeah. And I guess that's a good kind of, when you're getting into this, the apparel business or the screen printing business, having the relationships with the people that are already in the business, that they have the capacity, they have the machinery, they have the equipment, you can still use them while you're still trying to get your brand off the ground, trying to get your products out there, and then you can make the shift to buying your own equipment, bringing everything in house. So, what was that decision like when you knew it was time to do it?
It was, it was really a no-brainer. It was something I wanted to do for sure, and there were some things that, they were making some changes in Kansas that I really didn't like, and some different distribution channels that they wanted to go into that I didn't like. There's certain things we had, in the state of Louisiana back in that day, you had in Metairie was Tiger Gifts, owned by Grace Bankston and her husband Mark, and their daughter Sue came into the picture as well in the late '90s, maybe 2000. But they were big, and I'll just take you back to 19. It might have been '96 or '97 when I did with a company in Florida. We did the actual shirt that the LSU team was going to wear for when they got home from Omaha.
Okay.
And Gail Seafield was running the athletic department at LSU back then, the sales and everything at the store. So he was in charge of getting everything together and buying for the actual celebration. And they had a 1 week window where no one else could have that shirt. And that was common back then. You take the sales rate. They could buy anything else, but not that shirt the players were going to wear.
So, and this was the shirt the players get when they return,
yes,
like get off the
get
plane
off
or the bus, whatever it
The
was.
bus come from the tarmac to the stadium here
Okay.
in Baton Rouge. But there was only one customer that he would let have it, and that was Tiger Gifts in Metairie, because they were one of the oldest. That's how far back they go. So you got to take care of them. You also had Tiger Mania up here in Baton Rouge. Ken Roberts and Alan Wallace, that they did a good job. They had really nice stores, and you had these guys 365 days a year. Wasn't like they were just buying some hot market from you or whatever. They supported you all year long. So back to end of '03 or beginning of '04 when the company in Kansas wanted to take on some new distribution channels, it really would have been a conflict,
Right.
with what we were doing, with what got us to where we were, I should say. So that was, I approached LSU. We had a long talk, and they agreed. At that time in licensing, they agreed. They said, "Yeah, you got the right idea. You got to take care of that's your bread and butter."
Right.
And so I made the move, and it, worked out great. We did, '04 was a good year, '05 was a good year, '06 was a good year, '07 was phenomenal.
Yeah. I guess it's every year that, your big client, LSU, whenever they have a great year, you're going to have a good year.
Yeah.
But obviously that doesn't always happen, unfortunately, looking at the 2020 season. It's rebuilding year, right?
Yes,
that's what we say.
It definitely
Yeah.
is.
But so you've got years where LSU is up, it's hyped, and everybody wants the latest LSU gear, the latest LSU products. But there's some years that it kind of, I wouldn't say disappears, but it slacks off a little bit. So what type of moves did you have to make with the company to make sure you had something in place for those years?
Well, like I said before, we've got all the universities in Louisiana. So, we do a phenomenal business over at the ULL bookstore.
Okay.
We've got probably a bigger percentage of the T-shirts in that store than Adidas, who is their online provider.
Wow.
We've got a great presence over there,
So,
and we're probably running trucks over there probably once every 2 weeks, several times a month.
okay.
With product.
And truckloads of product. I mean, you're talking about a box truck. How many boxes or shirts can you fit within one truck?
Yeah, 60 boxes, 72 shirts in a box. So, you get thousands.
Okay.
So that, and we have, the bookstore chains we do, with Barnes and Noble bookstore. They own the LSU bookstore. They've got Tulane. We do Mississippi State with them. They also have Southern Miss. We do some Southern Miss products.
Okay. So you're expanding outside of just LSU.
We've had those. Actually, we had more than that. We had Alabama. We had some of South Carolina, Virginia Tech. Some of the big boys. But there was some shake up in licensing, and we certainly understood what the licensing program was trying to get to, and moving some people around, taking us out of some markets, but also at the same time they were taking other companies out of the LSU market. So I mean, it worked out. It worked out good for us.
Yeah.
And we do we do corporate apparel. We never really marketed corporate apparel. We just did it for mostly contacts who knew us from doing LSU products. So we did their company's product, and recently we've just launched BP, Bayou Promotions, and that's promotional products, corporate apparel.
Okay.
So, and we've got a new division that we've hired. My son's taken over with sales and that, and then I've got several key players that came in art and development. So.
Right, because I mean, within your apparel companies, you can't just have somebody working on licensing and working on sales. You've got to actually have artists.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you got to have graphic designers that are designing all these shirts. I mean, what's your graphic designer team look like? How many people y'all running?
We have 2 full-time.
Okay.
And that's every day of the week they're here. That's just building different graphics, because you never know. What are they going to like this year? What are they going to like for basketball? What are they going to like for baseball? We have to have everything designed, approved by the licensing company, approved by LSU, sent back to us, put on sheets, and then sent to the buyers to see if that's something they want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of labor, a lot of behind the scenes things that go into just getting it ready.
Right.
And sometimes, they don't want it. So you do all that work and they don't want it. And we do hot market. We have victory shirts ready for all these different schools. Any scenario, that could potentially be a big hot market run.
Mm-hmm.
And
so I mean, are you like printing these shirts, or are you just getting the designs
just get the
ready?
artwork and everything approved, because you got to be ready to go Saturday night.
Yeah. So like
you can't wait till Monday and do it.
So like for the national championship this year, or I guess this year in 2020. Gosh, it's been that long of a year. I forgot it happened this year. What was y'all's timeline like? When were y'all ready? When did y'all know?
That
like
was easy. National championship is easy to get prepared for, because it's going to happen. Once I started preparing after Texas. After I saw Joe Burrow on that field at Texas,
mm-hmm.
I knew right away we had something.
3rd and 17.
Yeah, I've never seen LSU get that many third downs. I've never sat on the couch and watched the game and known we were going to get that third down conversion. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You just had that confidence. He did. And if he could give it to the people watching on TV, he could give it to the rest of the team.
He's got it in the players.
So,
they know.
We had a great feeling. We started working on the Heisman license in September, secured in, I think, late October, so we finally signed the deal, or early November, or something like that. But
so you signed it in October, November, and you now have the license to produce.
Now we're getting designs ready.
Okay, so like once you during the national championship game, you're not. I mean, are you printing shirts, or because they expect these shirts to get there at night.
We do a little pre-printing. We do a little pre-printing for the Heisman as well. But,
okay.
That is really, I say it's easy to plan for, but you have a lot more time. I mean, you got a feeling of what's going to happen in the year.
Mm-hmm.
These week-to-week game victories, though, there's a lot of scenarios, of the teams just in Louisiana that are playing, bigger schools. This year it's kind of dumbed down because you're not traveling as much, and a lot of them are staying in conference. But, let's face it, we got Southeastern and Nichols. They may beat Kansas State, whoever. Somebody like that's a big deal when you're on that campus.
Yeah.
You know, here we came in after the first game. We had to come in and print. We are a Mississippi State license, and they wanted a victory shirt if they beat LSU. So lo and behold, we had to have one ready.
Wow.
And I can tell you, there wasn't anybody happy. Now, when LSU beats Alabama,
Right.
come out here and look at this crew at midnight, and they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, screaming. Wasn't anybody happy about coming in after that game?
Yeah.
I promise you.
So y'all are coming in after the games are over to start production.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, do you have multiple crews and shifts, or I mean, because at some point you might like be printing 24/7 or
Yeah. For the big championships we do something like that. We'll get a first shot into the main city. You know, Starkville. So if they win, just like with the Egg Bowl when they play Ole Miss every year, that's a big thing. We'll get Jackson on the way, Starkville, Tupelo, and then we'll the big customers, and then we'll ship everybody else on Monday.
Okay.
So we do about an 8 or 10 hour shift. Everybody goes home Sunday morning, early Sunday morning, come back Monday morning, and everything's there, sitting up ready to roll. We have our plan in gear, and we have plenty of shirts in stock, and we start printing again.
Yeah, I guess how do you kind of predict how many shirts you need to have in stock? I mean, because without just sitting on, inventory, that's just, obsolete.
Got a lot of purple t-shirts in house right now. We ordered, we had to order a lot for July, August, and we didn't really know what was going to happen. And with the way manufacturing was shut down, we had to take what we could get because if everything would have just disappeared and gone full throttle in August, September, we had to be ready for that. And then of course, then we jumped on, maroon. And
printing a lot of maroon.
After that, we're not printing anymore. It's just kind of a roller coaster, basically. You got to be ready for everything, which that's part of the business.
Yeah, and so y'all do screen printing. Do y'all do direct garment? What are the different application processes?
We do screen printing and embroidery.
Okay.
And that's mainly what we do.
Right. So, I know for screen printing, you've got a different screen for every different color.
Yes.
So you've got to, and that stuff has to sit and prep, and you've got to make the screens because you just have that blank. What is it? What's the material?
The mesh.
The mesh, yeah. So you've got the mesh. You've got to make it into a screen for different colors. So I mean, for one of your shirts, how many colors are y'all printing on the shirts on average?
Well, it all depends. For championship stuff, I would say minimum 6 colors. Sometimes, sometimes 8 or 10. Or depending on what you print. We had one for national championship that had every helmet. Had all 15 helmets from the teams that we played last year. So that was multicolor. We had to blend those colors to create some of the colors. We had to do process printing, is what we call that, because of just too many colors.
Yeah, and so
that was a great looking shirt.
And how many colors can your machine print at a time?
12 colors.
12 colors?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the flashes, because you have to cure some ink. So it's realistically 12 colors.
Okay, so what is the process from blank shirt to a finished product look like on the assembly line?
Well, you really can't tell on the assembly line unless you're on the press because it whips around pretty good. They're automatic presses, and all the colors are, it gets printed. So if one person's loading that shirt onto the press, it's making the circle, and another person's taking it off and putting it on the dryer. It's complete. And it goes down a conveyor belt through a dryer, which cures the ink. And, at the end of the dryer, you're seeing the finished product.
Okay. And what kind of, a quality control process is there? I mean, I know everything's automatic, is there?
We have color ups. You have to have because when we're printing college apparel, you have trademarks and registration marks. So, yeah, that's the big thing. You got to make sure that your TMs and your Rs are there for your first off. And then once, when you're doing these big runs after, 500, 1,000 pieces, 2,000 pieces, you got to make sure that nothing's filling in, because it's easy for that small little circle art to disappear after a lot of prints. So, they may have to shut it down, clean their screens out. So it's a process, and something that they have to look closely at, which they would anyway, just for the quality. But this,
Right.
especially when you're dealing with the college and you have the trademarks. So.
And isn't LSU's purple trademarked, or am I mishearing that?
Yeah, they have a certain PMS they do for the gold as well. So.
Okay. So, I mean, how do you trademark a color?
All the universities have, a guide to what their color has to be.
Okay. So, I mean, that licensing process has just got to be a headache going from university to university, or is there just one?
If you're not used to it, it
okay.
is. It's a lot of paperwork. There is a lot of rules, regulations, a lot of codes. I could see where it would be tough to navigate if you were just getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, because you've got some people that may want to get into printing for a university, or may be an alumni and say, "Hey, let me print some shirts for the university."
At that point, they'll send them to one of the licensees.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I think I showed you earlier. We did a duck call.
Yes.
Duck Commander, or Duck Dynasty wanted to do a duck call, and they looked at the packet to become licensed, and this is the only product they were going to do. They said, "Is there a licensee we can work with?" So we licensed it for them. They put Bayou Apparel on the duck call, and they shipped them all here. We put the holograms on them, which made them a legal product to go into retail.
Gotcha.
And we shipped them back to them, and they did the distribution for them.
So they built the duck call and made the tangible product. Y'all came in, put the finishing touch that fulfilled the license requirements, and then shipped them back out so they could distribute them. So in all, like, they made it, but y'all just had to put a finishing touch on it, something like that.
And it had to carry our name for the licensing purposes.
Okay. And so, like, to become licensed, is there like a big organization that handles all universities, or is it university specific?
There is the Collegiate Licensing Company in Atlanta handles most of the universities around the country. There are a few independents, and then there's a smaller company that handles some of the now smaller universities. But yeah, CLC is the big one there in Atlanta.
Okay.
And that's what you do. You work through them to obtain the license, and that'll tell you that if you go to lsusports.net and you click on licensing, I think it tells you refer to CLC, and it gives you their website.
Gotcha. So, in kind of moving gears into the BP, the Bayou Promotions, how was that transition? How did y'all decide to go that route? I mean, you've got a whole bunch of universities. What made you want to get into the business side of it? Doing uniforms and stuff of that nature.
Well, we probably won't do uniforms, but we're doing corporate uniforms. I guess you would, polos, golf shirts.
Yeah.
Well, we just, we kept picking up requests and requests and requests. So, when my son left his last job and came here to help out with the college, we started talking about that. We said, we could really, we could make an impact in that side of the business. But we had, we had to hire some key players. We had to get some people with the knowledge to be in here with us, because it's tough to be here and be on the road, selling, going in front of people. You got to have a good backup. You got to have an art team, which we have.
Mm-hmm.
And they, with the college the way it is, this was a perfect year to get into it because we didn't know this at the time, but they have extra time on their hand. And then we were able to get some key people that could put the information together for us, so to speak, and get the products paired together for us. And we just took off running with it. And it's really been great, actually, because everything else is so down. It was like, we talked about it all last year during football season. And, one of the things, we had to remodel the whole building, of course. We had to buy some new machinery so we could do on-site embroidery. A few things we had to redecorate to do a showroom. We had to put new floors in, put new walls in, put new ceilings in, because where we did that, we were just keeping stock and things. It was basically warehouse. So you turn the warehouse into a showroom.
Yeah.
but we had the time. That was the thing. That was one of the things. We came up here every day during the lockdown and planned our attack, looked at everything, knew where we wanted to go with it, and what we wanted to do, and then we hired a contractor, came in and did everything. So it worked out great. And by August 1st or so, when things were up and running, we were there, we were ready. We had talked to some people who were furloughed or actually laid off because their companies closed. And that's the thing, we lost some good companies in Baton Rouge that did corporate work that actually helped us in hot market situations, that we relied on. And we were able to hire a few people that, that've been in the business, One was there, 25 years. We took a 25-year employee, and
Wow.
that didn't have a job,
Yeah.
And when you have that kind of talent, and we had several people. When you have those kind of people, that kind of talent that know the business, I just, we took a gamble doing it, but life's a gamble.
Yeah, life's a big gamble, and
The Heisman was a gamble.
yeah, I mean, so what? So y'all are the only ones licensed through the Heisman, right?
Yes, and our license runs out. We bought the 1 year license.
Okay.
And it'll be running out soon. We're working on a project right now that we're going to do a design with Joe Burrow's name, number, and the year he won the Heisman, and Billy Cannon with the Heisman Trophy in the middle. It's pretty neat. We've got it designed. We've got approval from the Heisman Trust. We've got approval from CLC and LSU. We've got the Cannon family signed off on it, and we've got a contract sitting in Cincinnati. Joe's giving us a thumbs up.
Okay.
I don't want to print anything until I get,
Right.
John Hancock on it. So, but I just, earlier when the phone was going off, that was Joe's agent, and so it looks good. Everything's a go.
Yeah. And so what does the deal look like on Joe's part? I mean, does he get a kickback from it?
Yeah, everybody by LSU will get a percentage. The Heisman Trust will get their percentage. The Cannon family will, and so will Joe.
Okay. How do you get in touch with these people? I mean, how do you reach out? I guess through LSU or
I've actually been working with Joe as soon as he, his eligibility was up. His dad and I did a few things on, the legal way. I'm sure you saw all the shirts in December that were illegal that had BURREAUX because it came out like that.
Yeah.
During the last game at home, but as soon as his eligibility was out, we contacted Jimmy and talked about it and got something going right away. And we were able to do. He didn't even take any money. His percentage a lot of it went to the Athens County Food Bank or whatever. So
that's incredible.
yeah, great guy.
Oh, absolutely. So did y'all do the shirts of him in the locker room, or was that a different company? With the cigar and the art and all that?
We did the shirt with the cigar on it, but that didn't come till I think February. Jeffrey Marks was the one that took the photograph.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a contract with Jeffrey and Joe Burrow on that one. Now there was a few other ones out there that weren't licensed, of course, but
so what happens to the shirts that aren't licensed? I mean, what
if they catch them, they'll it's federal offense. I'm sure now with the things are going to tighten up with the the players being able to license their image and everything. I'm sure it's going to be policed a lot more.
So they can license their image?
It's common.
Okay. So they can license a picture of themselves.
Yes.
Okay. Can they do well? I guess for video games or Madden and stuff like that, you would have to have it because
that's what started.
They're doing imagery. So I guess the players were like, hey, why can't we get a piece of the Madden industry?
That's why NCAA 14 stopped making games.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So now it's the discussion of let's license our image, so now we can make money and these games can continue to happen.
Yes.
But they can't do that at the while they're still at the university. Like you said, you had to wait till the eligibility was up.
Yeah, not now, but that's going to change.
Okay.
That's laws that are changing where they will be able to do that. They will be able to collect some money while they're a college athlete.
I think that's gonna impact everything greatly.
Yeah, I think it's great if you saw, all the illegal merchandise that was out there using Joe's image, Joe's name, and it happens everywhere.
Yeah, I mean
So
it's a form of protection for him. I mean, he can't if his brand isn't licensed, his image isn't licensed. Can he control what's going to happen with him? Like, if it gets on a shirt and not a nice way, does he have legal action he can take? And having that in place where he can, that's great. Otherwise, people would just be printing shirts left and right that aren't going to produce the best image of Joe or of any player for that matter.
correct.
Okay. So I want to go back to the Bayou promotions, getting into the business side. So what's the product line going to look like? Are y'all doing anything and everything from?
Yeah, basically we let the customer picks what they want, and we just decorate.
Okay. So you do like masks, shirts, hats, beanies.
Yes, all apparel, all promotional products. We have just tons of different promotional products.
Okay. And did y'all do anything with masks this year?
Oh yeah.
Did you have to change equipment, or was it all able to still be using the same equipment?
Yeah, we have different pallet sizes because we print, infant and toddler T-shirts and everything. So we were fine with that.
That's awesome.
Sleeve platen. So we were fine. We didn't have to buy any additional equipment.
That's incredible.
So it was a lot of masks early on too.
Oh yeah, and I mean there's still gonna be masks.
Yeah, it started to dwindle a little bit. Well, everybody got into it.
Ah, okay.
That was a big thing, in a lot of the bigger companies that supply us were sublimating masks. Putting sublimation prints on them, not screen printing, but where they could just print all over the mask, that was huge. So, a lot of our customer, smaller sports shops, things like that, they could buy direct from some of the manufacturers. So, we didn't do as well there, but we had the screen printing end of it. So
I got you.
we could buy the blanks and knock them out a lot quicker than anybody could get them in here printed. So that helped us.
Yeah, it sounds like the whole COVID situation, the whole pandemic, the lockdown, it impacted so many people in a way, but there's others that were able to just adapt and grow. I mean, y'all basically developed or put into play a whole different division that y'all maybe wouldn't even have had the ability to if football season is what it was. Because y'all would have been so busy doing all that.
That's the thing. We had plenty of time to get ready for it.
Yeah, I think that kind of defines what will your business be around during the hard times? Is can you see that time of, oh, we're down, instead of everybody just going home and staying at home and doing nothing. It's okay, guys, let's brainstorm. Let's figure out what we can do to get through this. And from y'all, it's spun off this, I'm sure is going to be something amazing,
Yes. We've been through a lot of, as you well know, being from Louisiana, we've had these Les's first year here, the hurricane.
Oh, we're up to 30 or something, and now Ida is looking like it's going to turn here.
We just got framed an autographed shirt from 2005 from the Peach Bowl.
Okay.
Do you remember who we played that year?
I do not.
The Miami Hurricanes.
Okay.
Fitting, huh?
Yeah.
So we did a shirt. We actually had to take this shirt. We had to quit producing it about a week or two before the game. I'll tell you why. We did a shirt, and on the back of the shirt, it had Katrina, Rita, Miami, and they all had check marks beside them. And then it said, "No hurricane we can't handle." A play on words, because
right.
Miles came in. He had first game was in Tempe, Arizona that year. We had to fly out there. I flew out. It was a 24-hour turnaround, man. We flew out Friday night and back. We were back in Sunday morning. We flew out Saturday morning. Left Baton Rouge Airport with the alumni group. We were back Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Before lunch, yeah. But anyway, we did, that was a great shirt. But we had some complaints from North Louisiana that said it might be offensive. They called into I don't know if it was the chancellor's office or licensing and asked, why they approved that. But, then we had people writing letters from South Louisiana that said, that's what we need. We need a shirt like this. So, but we quit producing at that point, and And then we had the helmet, the LSU helmet, and the
Right.
Miami Hurricane helmet. But it just, it fit so well.
Yeah, and it was like you said, the people in South Louisiana are saying, "Hey, we need something to ramp our spirits back up." That's great.
Yeah,
You know.
it was a great trip. We've had some great ones over the years. We did the Monday night in Death Valley was a big one. When we had the Monday night game versus Tennessee,
Yep.
that was huge.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, you've having the ability to get all these designs and design all these shirts that people, as soon as you describe it, they know what it is huge. And being able to see your product somewhere, whether it be Academy or, Dick's Sporting Goods or wherever they're sold, bookstores and all that. I'm sure it kind of gives like a great deal of like satisfaction of like, we made something and people like it,
Yeah, and you strike out a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things we come out with, and sometimes you have to guarantee a sale, on this hot stuff, and it doesn't work.
So what do you do in that case? What do you do?
We eat it.
Well, like, what do you? I mean, you've got like thousands of shirts. What do you do with the shirts? Can you like reuse them? Okay.
Cut them up and use. They use test prints out there to get their first strikes, and but a lot of times we've won. The rally possum, huge.
Yeah.
Come out with that the next day, and it just gained momentum. That was a big one.
Yeah, I mean, and being able to see that is huge. I mean, you have to stay on top of every university that you as a client or else you have a license for. You have to stay on top of those universities and what's happening there, not just sports-wise, but culture-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, if you pay attention to LSU baseball and, whenever the Rally Possum happened, you'd have to know, okay, the culture at LSU is going to love this.
Yeah.
You have to be able to read that and see that to make these designs. And so I'm sure that's a whole skill in and of itself for these designers and these artists to come in and say, hey, this shirt's going to look great. Boom, put it out there. And then it blows up. Yeah. It's incredible. So you've been doing this since '04 and you've been doing sales
since early 90s in the market.
Gotcha.
Just with other companies, and basically I had the same role. You come up with great ideas and put them to life and get out there and sell them.
So, and on that, I'm sure you've kind of harnessed several lessons throughout this time in your career. What are 3 top lessons that you've got? Just first things that come to mind of these are some really great lessons you've gathered and learned.
Of business or the
everything. I mean, in the business of owning, it could be from owning the business, some stuff you've learned, or from working for somebody else, or the licensing, just whatever comes to head when you think of the first 3 lessons that come to mind.
Yeah, I guess in this business would be, to always stay on top of things, be ready for anything.
Yeah.
Expect the unexpected. Tell you, in 2001, I was, I guess they fired me. We were on Friday in December before the SEC championship game. They called from, it was I think Wednesday or Thursday, but they called the president of the company. He said, "Hey, you got to be in Knoxville. We got a local printer up there, and we're going to start printing SEC champions Saturday night, and we're printing Rose Bowl there, so we can get it to the locals." We had a lot of contracts in Knoxville. And I said, "No, I'm not going anywhere." So we're set up here. He said, "We'll leave it. You can come back if LSU wins." I said, "Nah," I said, "I'm not going." And probably shouldn't repeat what was said, but they let me know I was done. I said, "Well, okay, whatever." And I think the apology phone call came in about 5 minutes after LSU stunned Tennessee that year, in 2001 after the SEC championship game, and it was just, it was incredible, the business, and back then we didn't have a lot of competition, and the very little competition that we had, nobody was ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't ready at all. Nobody really. It's a different animal now, but back then it was incredible.
Yeah,
that's all I can say is the hats. Now you have 5 companies doing hats. Before you had none, so you just kept producing and producing and producing. So, but that was big. Yeah, I got my job back pretty quick.
I bet. And then ended up going your own route after
Yeah, we
that.
went in '02. We actually did the locker room shirt for the Sugar Bowl. So we had several hundred shirts on the field for LSU, several hundred for Illinois. So
Mhm.
whoever won, the teams got they got their shirt on the field right after the game.
Right.
So we had them down there, and I was actually on the sideline for that game. JB, Jeff Boss at LSU got me a bench pass. So I was on the LSU sideline.
That's incredible.
I'll never forget going out to right at midfield after the game, and Skip Burton came by, and we were I was out there with a few of the others to make sure all the players had T-shirts in their hand. And Skip was well aware of what was going on and that we won that bid. I had been talking to him all week, and he came by. He said, you picked the right side of that one, didn't you? Because if Illinois won, I had a salesman that would be doing everything up in Champaign,
I got you.
Illinois. So I was, I guess we did pick the right side
Yeah.
of that one. So it's been exciting. A lot of great things. I did in '96. We hit the Florida championship when I was down there with the company right outside of Gainesville. And that was huge. That was my first go around with the Heisman Trophy.
That's incredible.
Nobody had really done the Heisman, and Danny Werfel won, and they called and said, "Hey, do you think?" So yeah, we'll kill it. So we did. We put it in every J.C. Penney store in the state of Florida. Back then, we went directly store to store with the store managers. There wasn't a buying team per se for that
Right.
kind of stuff. We had a vendor to go direct store to store, which a few years later they kind of pulled that into district guys, and then about 2 years after that they pulled it into Plano, Texas. Everything was brought out of there. But back in the day, yeah, you could, and that was big, because these local guys were buying and they knew the market much better than one buyer in Plano.
Right. So,
tough for him to
maybe
figure
we'll
out.
need something.
Yeah.
But people that are, boots on the ground when they're at the store, they say,
Yeah.
no, everybody wants this. Goes back to understanding that culture
Yeah.
and being at the different
That's right.
universities,
You have to-
knowing what's going to
that's
sell.
it. Basically, it's all feeling.
Yeah.
Because you live it every
Right.
day.
So, and within that, y'all are based out of Baton Rouge here in Louisiana. What is something that you love about Baton Rouge?
Oh wow! Just the big town but small town feel of Baton Rouge. Everybody knows everybody basically.
Yeah.
And just being around. If when you're a kid and you're growing up and I'm sure you were a big LSU fan.
Right.
Man, what a way to make a living. Go to all the sporting events. Join all the booster clubs and get involved and always be there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
I'm an alumni of LSU, and I go to as much LSU stuff as I can.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
a piece of you that you're raised with, you're born with, and it just breeds into you.
Sure. You're not a coach.
Right.
You're still there.
Yeah.
You're still there, and you feel part of it, and you take your lumps when they lose, and you're there to celebrate when they win. And we've had shirts when they won the SEC championship. We've sent them out to the when they're getting off the bus at the locker room. So when they come get on the plane and come from Atlanta, we've already got shirts out.
Yeah, and that to me is incredible.
Yeah.
Like you're able to greet the team when they get home and say, "Hey, we made this for you. Put it on, wear it." And now let's get pictures everywhere. That's incredible,
It is cool.
and that's incredible to see. And that's why I wanted to get y'all on, because not everybody's going to know who made the shirt. That's not the first question. It's like, oh my gosh, that shirt's awesome. It's great. Where can I buy it? To me, I'm like, all right, someone had to make that shirt. Where did that shirt
Yeah.
come from? That shirt's got a story, and every shirt has a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's great to see, kind of how everything's made and the behind the scenes of that. So what, for the final question is, what can I do to help you?
I think this is great. Just getting the message out, and hopefully next year we'll be back in the hot market season.
That's right. Or maybe this season, baseball, basketball. That's right.
Basketball's starting up this month, the end of the month.
There you go. Get back into this full swing of LSU apparel and gear that everybody's used to.
We just need to, get some normalcy back and get everybody going to the games and, hopefully the virus will, we'll get a vaccine or, hopefully, it lightens up and everybody can get back to normal,
Yeah, or a new version of normal, whatever it's going to look like.
That's right.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
I know everybody else listening and or watching, I'm sure you enjoyed learning a little bit of backstory about Bayou Apparel and Bayou Promotion and what they've got going on. So I want to say thank you all for tuning in, whether you're watching or whether you're listening to the show in the podcast form. I appreciate that. And when you're in Baton Rouge and you see an LSU shirt, more likely than not, came from y'all, right?
We hope.
We hope. All right, y'all. I am Patty G with the Patty G Show. I'm signing out here with Dan at Bayou Apparel. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.